Hello, everyone. We're having Broca Brothers today, which is awesome, and amazing. Hello, Hilla. Hello, Shurd.
Hey, hello.
So, it's just an amazing chance to ask you something. And the idea of this interview is maybe not go too much about different things, but we'll try, at least we'll try to attempt that, to find something maybe more practical that we can advise or tell people who stutter that can be used and applied. So, and I asked you about one thing to start the conversation with, and what you said was that every person who stutters is already a fluent speaker. That's what you said. So can you maybe elaborate a little bit on that, what you actually mean by that?
Yep, sure can. You want me to start? Yeah. So, I think the best way to start off is to talk a little bit about how stuttering is usually seen, and especially how you grow up as well as a person who stutters, and especially regarding stuttering, like the beliefs and the way you view stuttering as you're growing up, as you're getting older, as you learn more and more about stuttering. And I think one of the biggest things that you learn and develop about yourself and about stuttering is that you see yourself as a person who stutters, and as a person who stutters, you therefore cannot really speak fluently, right? It's
Right,
almost like your default state of being is that of stuttering.
right,
So at some point in your life, you learn that you are a person who stutters, which can be very early on in life. You notice that you are the only person in your class, from your friends, whatever it is, that stutters, right?
right,
You notice that. It's very easy to see. You're the only one who speaks a little different, who speaks a
right,
little weird, so to say. You're the only one who speaks, who stutters.
right,
And well, you basically go through that your whole childhood, right? In primary school, elementary school, through high school, probably as well. You're just one of the few, maybe the only one that you know who stutters. And so you really develop this idea, this belief of yourself as a person who stutters, as a stutterer,
right.
right? Now, of course, as many people who stutter experience, it is not something fun, right? Stuttering is not fun. It's annoying. It's in the way of a lot of things, and that's even putting it very lightly. In most cases, it's just total shit, right? It's the worst thing ever in our minds, right? So then we want to do something about it, right? We want to do something about that stutter. We want to overcome stuttering. We want to be able to speak fluently. And so we start to wonder, okay, so how can I, as a person who stutters, how can I move from stuttering towards fluent speech, right? How can I do that? How can I go from stuttering to speaking fluently? And so we start to think of all the ways, oh, how can I turn my stutters into fluency? How can I make my stuttering go away and then speak fluent instead? And then, for example, you go to speech therapy,
Right.
and what you mostly receive is, for example, a speech technique, which is a technique in which, well, you speak in a different way, whatever it is. You speak slower, you might prolong some words, you might, string the words together, whatever it is, right? You receive a speech technique to get your speech right, to make it fluent, to get it from stuttering to fluent. And well, maybe if that doesn't work and you notice that it also has to do with more than your speech, you start to think, oh, how can I make my thoughts or my feelings or my general state of being, how can I make that towards fluency? So you start to think of all these ways of changing yourself almost from the person who stutters that you believe you are to the fluent ideal self, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
which is nice. It sounds nice, right? Oh, I'm gonna learn a lot, and I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna change my behaviors, and I'm gonna build up habits, and I'm gonna do all these things, and that way I will really change myself, and that, you know, become more and more fluent. And this is also how we started out with our journey of overcoming stuttering and speaking fluently, right? We were like, all right, well, we stutter, and we notice a lot of things that cause us to stutter, and we have to change those things. And I also already mentioned some things before, so our speech, but also our inner feelings, you know, our thoughts. We found out that all of those things are connected to our speech, right? And we started to change, and we wanted to change all of those things in order to speak fluently. And at some point, we started to see some change, actually, with doing that, you know. We started to go out and talk to a lot of people to practice, and we got more and more comfortable with speaking to people, and with that, we noticed that we got more and more fluent as well. But one particular thing that we noticed is that we were only really comfortable in certain situations.
Right.
We were only comfortable in the situations that we really had practiced a lot, right? And that's actually called situational confidence. Right? We build up a lot of situational confidence. Based on the situation, we were confident or not. And why were we confident or not is because we had been in that situation very often or not. Which meant that in the situations in which we were confident, we were fluent as well. But in new situations and in situations we were not confident, we were not fluent.
Right.
So that would mean that we had to become more confident in those situations as well, that we had to practice in those situations as well, that we had to get ourselves into those situations as well, and then practice and then become more and more fluent. But then the question is, okay, that's all great and it might work, but are you gonna do that for every single situation that you might ever find yourself in, right? That would mean you have to become confident in like 1,000 situations, in like what are you gonna do?
It's endless.
Right, throughout your whole life, you're gonna find yourself in new situations. You're gonna meet new people. You're gonna find yourself in different circumstances, right?
And we're gonna move to Mars at some point
in
this lifetime. So you have to be comfortable at Mars as well.
Right.
To be fluent on Mars.
So exactly. So if you want to go about it that way, it's just an endless process of becoming more confident, of practicing, of doing the things you don't want to do, pushing through fear, all of that stuff, right? And when we thought about that, we were like, well, there has to be some other way, right? Like, why do we practice and become more confident in some situations, but then find ourselves in a different situations and we're almost like back to zero, right? Why does it always happen? And when we started to think about that and talk about it, we really found out that yes, we became more confident in, as I said, situational confidence, right, in certain situations, but we got to understand that actually deep inside of us, in the core of our beings, basically, we still saw ourselves as people who stutter.
Right.
As a stutterer.
Right.
In some situations, we had the experience that, oh, it's actually okay, we can actually speak fluently, we can actually say what we wanted to say. But that was only in certain situations, right? And actually underneath that, there was still the belief and the feelings of ourselves being a person who stutters. Right. And therefore, in a new situation, we always enter that situation with that underlying belief of, no, I still am a person who stutters. I still cannot really speak fluently. I still have to try really hard to speak fluently. I still have to work hard to speak fluently. I still have to be on the lookout for anything scary in the environment that might cause me to, stutter, people judging me, whatever. Right? That was still our baseline, so to say, that was still at the core of our beliefs of ourselves. And when we saw that, when we became aware of that, we were like, okay, all that situational confidence, all that practicing, all that trying really hard, all that working really hard, all that talking to people, talking to strangers, whatever we did, it's all nice, it's great, but it doesn't solve the real core issue of stuttering, which are the underlying beliefs, the underlying emotions that we have regarding stuttering.
Got you.
And that is what we figured out, that we have to let go of those things, right?
Got you.
Because that's actually what is causing us to stutter.
Got it. So
Right.
actually, to me, it sounds, again, maybe you would disagree, but it sounds very much in line with accepting ourselves in general, and kind of acceptance thing, because yesterday I watched Rowan Atkinson speaking on some episode, and he was funny, he was engaging, but at some point he had some speech impediment. So I noticed that he stutters, but I think he didn't notice that. He didn't think that he stuttered. And as you say, he didn't think about him as stuttering person, as having that stuttering identity. So, which is very close to what you're saying. So he felt like a regular person, absolutely. So in that moment, but he did have some impediments, like yeah. So to me, it sounds like deep down, even no matter how many speech impediments I might have, I want to view myself, you call it as a fluent person, maybe as a regular person, maybe just feeling okay about ourselves. Is it, so is it the thing, like, so the question comes here, like, if I have some speech impediments, like regular people also have speech impediments, but if I keep having speech impediments, like some people have like maybe more severe stuttering or something, do I say to myself anyway, deep down somewhere, that it's okay, I'm a fluent person, or what do I do then?
No, wait. I think we have to elaborate on the point Stuart is trying to make, because I think it's not clear yet. Is that we came to the conclusion that you are already a fluent person, because what you're told is that we don't want to stutter, yes? Because we see ourselves as a person who stutters, and we see ourselves as that is something wrong. So whenever we are going to speak with people, we feel there's a pressure from inside of us because we cannot stutter. Because we are a person who stutters, we must be careful for making mistakes.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
So we're always anxious. We're always on edge. We are always afraid of a possible mistake. So we're trying to avoid it. But the thing is that we often forget to see is that we all have situations in which we all are already fluent.
Right.
We all have them. Small, some people, very small moments. Some people have a week of fluency, a month, or an hour, or a minute, or just a conversation with your father, your mother, your best friends, whatever. Oh, when you're all by yourself, yes? When you're all by yourself, it's easy peasy. This is what eventually brought us to the conclusion that you are already it. You have fluency within you. So the paradigm from the beginning, what Stuart was trying to explain, was we have a speech impediment, which means that we are broken. We are broken people, and we have to fix it.
Right.
The new paradigm is, when you truly think about it, that we already have fluent moments, which means that we have it. People think it means, well, that's, you know, how do you say geluk?
There is no explanation to that, really.
Yeah, it's a coincidence.
It's a coincidence, you know. No, yeah, it's just a coincidence that I'm fluent right now. I once was speaking with a young woman, and I had asked her I had asked her the same thing. Is that and she answered, and she replied, "Well, Hilla, I don't see any moments in which I'm fluent. I really can't see them." And she was talking to me. She was answering while she was being completely fluent.
Yeah.
So I said to her, "Aren't you missing something?" And she said, "Well, this? Do you mean this? That doesn't count." She said, "It doesn't count because you are a person who stutters, and I feel comfortable right now. I feel at ease with you. It doesn't count." And I was like, "It doesn't count? What's that?" It's you are at ease. You don't have to try. You're comfortable. You breathe steadily. You drop your shoulders. You relax, and you're fluent. What's up with that? So you already have it. But when we are in the paradigm of I don't have it and I have to get it, you start working hard for it. You start to strive for it. You think I have to practice getting it. But the true truth is that it's already there, and we have to stop trying. Stop! Stop! Stop it!
Yeah, that's I absolutely agree, and I agree that every person who stutters, no matter how severe the stuttering is, at some point we have people have fluent moments, and that's absolutely clear. There's no argument, I think, here.
But you have a but.
And what you're saying sounds awesome. So this starts with the idea, right? Kind of the feeling about yourself. But then it happens. So we can believe in different things. Right now, we believe that I'm a person who stutters because I have proof. Every day I have proof, right, to that. So, and what you say, you know, it's really amazing how we can have like 9 positive emotions and 1 negative emotion, and we'll still remember the negative one. And I recently, again, I read about the emotions thing. Maybe because we're much more attached, and we're much more like to the negative, because by nature we're like again, as physical creatures, we're more concerned about survival, about danger, about, so when something bad happens, it really kind of boom, stucks. Positive, it's just something like positive, like nothing much. But the negative is something we kind of boom, it strikes. So I wonder, in terms of the practical steps, so how can we build that feeling of because yeah, sure, it's sad that we can go there and try to be confident there, and there. So it still seems like a good thing to do, because again, we can, I agree that the general idea should be that we want to view ourselves as regular people, normal people, fluent people. It's okay with us. But what's
oh, it's not that. It's no.
Okay.
So you are trying to you're trying to understand it from an intellectual standpoint, but it is more of a it is more of a emotional thing, I think.
Uh-huh.
No, it's a feeling that you're already it. You have to feel it, that it's true. You cannot think about this is true, because here's the thing. In the moments that you are already a fluent speaker, you are not there. I'm going to repeat that. The moments that you are a fluent speaker, the moments that you are already fluent in, you are not there. There's no you. It's spontaneous, it's free, it's carefree, it's relaxed. You, the thinker, is not there. You, the ego, is not there. You thinking, I have to do something in order to be fluent, is not there. And this is the key. This is the secret to fluency. When you get yourself out of the way, fluency can start flowing. It's a natural thing. We have it. It wants to. It wants to flow. It's fluency. It's called that for a reason. It wants to flow. Speech is like a river. It's a book, Maybe you have seen it on the internet. But it's true. And when we get out of our own way, so ego, thinking, all that, believing that we have to do something in order to be fluent, in order to be spontaneous. This is weird because we say to ourselves, I'm going to try hard to be spontaneous. Spontaneity is never try hard. I'm going to be more serious about having humor. This is, you're in a double bind because this is never going to work. You can't be serious about attaining humor because humor isn't serious. Humor is spontaneous. You cannot say, I'm going to do my best to become fluent when you are already fluent. You already have this in you. So when you say to yourself, I'm going to try to attain it, try to get it, you get in your own way. You can say to yourself, I'm going to let go. And here's a practical thing, and I think this is the best exercise for most people who stutter, although not easy. It might seem very simple at first, but when you're going to do it, it's going to be difficult. It's when you feel a stutter coming up, when you feel yourself trying, because there is no try, Yoda said in Star Wars, there's only do. So when you feel yourself trying, when you feel yourself tensing up, you stop. You stop. You get the hell out of the vicious cycle of thinking that you have to work hard for fluency. So you stop. You get out. You stop. You breathe. You take your time. You take your space.
Mm-hmm.
And you wait, and you breathe, and you relax as long as you have to. There is, and I have to say this, no shame to that. This is about your process. This is about your integrity. This is about you. So stopping the vicious cycle of, the game that we're playing with ourselves is, I have to try hard, I have to try hard, I have to fight. Stop it. When you find yourself in those situations, when you feel yourself trying, stop it and practice it, and you'll become better at it. And you'll get bit by bit out of that pattern of, I don't want to stutter, so and because I'm a stutterer, so in order to be fluent, I have to push through, I have to persevere, I have to depress, compress, But in that paradigm, you're anxious all the time. And now we should talk about just a little bit about that, the good and the bad. We see fluency as good. We see stuttering as bad. This is the game that we're playing. This is something we have to let go as well. Fluency isn't something to cheer on for. And because you already have it, so what's the big deal? Nothing. And stuttering is not a thing that we should be ashamed of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, because when in the first paradigm, we are in the fighting paradigm, yes, in the warrior mode, in that stuff. We don't believe in that. We don't believe in building something up, becoming stronger than stuttering. Overcome it. There's no such thing. When we're in that paradigm, we try to overcome the bad and attain the good. When we're doing that, we are focusing on the good and we're pushing away the bad stuff, the ugly side of ourselves. And when we do that, we're building up our ego. We're building up by continuously striving for success, success, success. And you know this if you're playing football and you're holding the ball up, yes? So you're holding the ball up. I don't know how that's called in English, but you're holding the ball up, yes? 1, 2, 3 times, and 3 times is nothing, yes? 3 times is absolutely, but 50 times, 100 times, you're keeping the ball up in the air, yes? With your feet and with your head and with your shoulders. You do all these tricks to keep the ball up, and it's great. You become more enthusiastic, but at the same time, in the back of your head, you become more anxious. Because the moment you drop the ball, you know you're dead. You know you messed up. You know you have to start again. And this is the same with trying to become fluent. You're holding the ball up. So I'm 100 times fluent. I'm 1,000 times fluent. I'm 1,000,000 times fluent. But that one time you stutter again, you will drop yourself back all the way to ground zero, and you have to start over again. But here's the joke. You're already on ground zero, and fluency is found on ground zero. Don't search for it. Don't strive for it. It's already there if you want to see it. Now, this is a thing that's not easy for most people, because most people are in the paradigm of fighting. Yes, the first paradigm. But if you feel, because you have to feel these things that we're saying, you don't think about it, you feel it. If you feel this to resonate with you, then you can start practicing this, because there is a practice, but it's a non-practice, so to say, because you practice to not do.
Got it.
So this is the big secret. This is the big secret we believe to be true.
Yeah. So it's a practice of letting it go and not fighting for it. And yeah, so it's might be the most practical thing, at the same time the hardest thing, because again, we are somehow built in that intellectual
conditioned.
Yeah, we need like a point, like if there's a blank piece of paper, there's nothing there. What's like, we need point the line to this point, from this point, this we see. That's the figure, right? If there is nothing there, what should I feel? You say feel. So feel, maybe it's not quite an action, but anyway, it's some action. So we need to do something to feel something, right?
No.
Not really.
There's not doing. There's not doing. I know.
As a person who stutters, like I'm trying to understand, what should I do?
Yeah. But this is the funny part. This is the game. This is the conditioning that we all have had through our parents, through society, through school, through the people around us. They have conditioned us. They have brainwashed us by making us believe that if we want to be successful, we have to do our best. We have to power through it, willpower through it. This is what we have been conditioned with. This is what they have told us in school. This is what our parents have been told in school. And now our parents tell it to us. And so from generation to generation, it's been about working hard. It's been about putting your shoulders underneath it.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, because our parents and their parents and their parents, they've been in a pretty bad situation, with the wars and stuff, and there wasn't much to eat. There wasn't there wasn't really any fun in that particular period of time, not so much as it is right now. but we can now transcend that paradigm of them, because we have, we can transcend that paradigm from them to a new, fresh one, is to seeing and to feeling and therefore believing it, that we already have it in us, and we can
maybe I should rephrase the question.
rephrase it.
Maybe it's not about like doing, but even though you're saying, yes, you are a fluent person and you want to feel it, anyway, I see some journey.
Yeah.
And can I maybe ask you about your journey? So in your TED Talk, I think you said some morning you woke up, said, Hilla, like no more of this. But anyway, like from some, how did you come to this idea, or maybe to this feeling, as you say, to really feel the feeling, practice the feeling, and then immerse yourself in that feeling, saying, okay, now I really feel that feeling.
So,
is there any journey to that?
yeah, well, a little bit, but I think the journey precedes the understanding of that there is no need of a journey. You see? Yeah. Because, yes, most of us, see, and here's something I am very excited about, and very, excited is not a good word, but I'm very, I love to talk about this. Because in our culture, we don't have men or women to help us through this process of letting go. There are no men or women who have the understanding of this. So
very few,
hardly any, and they're hard to find as well. They are there, obviously, but hardly any men or women who have the understanding of the game that we're playing. And so what happens is that we, as we also talked about in the in the TED Talk, is that we started our journey by thinking we have to do it ourselves. So it's a very individual journey, and it's a very individual journey for most people who have this idea of there must be something more to this. I have more potential in me than at this moment. We think like this because we've been conditioned to think like this, and we have a feeling inside of us, which is true, that we have more potential in us than is shining through. Yes. But the feeling now results into our conditioned thinking, believing that we have to go and start working hard for it. So our journey was working hard, pushing uphill, pushing the cart uphill, pushing the rock uphill, yes? Those are all metaphors. So we really tried to attain something that was on top of the hill. We tried to get on top of the hill. We wanted to be the best. We wanted to be the supreme leaders, the supreme men who overcame their biggest fears by pushing through them, feeling the fear and do it anyway, stuff like that. And that was our first paradigm. That was our journey until you find the right man or woman to guide you through the process and tells you, Hilla, this is not it. You can also let go. So we started seeing that is, oh, the journey was there for a reason. If you want to,
Right.
if
Yes.
you want to
Yes.
put, yeah, you want to have a reason for your journey, don't you?
Because many times you see people. That's interesting because oftentimes people say that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't matter, but then you say, okay, but you went through this, and this. Maybe if you haven't done all of that, maybe it wouldn't be easy to realize where you are really. Yeah, sometimes we need to go all over and come back to that place and say, I didn't need to go there. I'm still here in that same place. I have it all. But maybe it was, there was some meaning to that. That's,
Yeah. Well, there's this saying. It goes, the road to enlightenment is paved with disillusionments.
right.
We can really just copy that and say the road to fluency is paved with disillusionments, which means that you go on your way, on your journey to become fluent, right?
Yeah.
You try all these things and you do all these things and you talk to all these people, all these strangers, and you push through all these fears and you go through all this shit for years and years and years and years, right? And you also find that nothing of that really works. Because yes, you might have some more fluent moments, but at some point you will realize that deep inside actually nothing has changed that much. You really still feel like that person who stutters on the inside.
Right.
So you go through all these disillusionments of, oh, I can't do it. How hard I try, it doesn't work. Nothing I do works. And then you come to the point where you realize what you just said to yourself. Nothing I do works. Nothing I try works. Nothing I work hard for works. And then you realize, oh, well, then maybe it's time for me to stop trying so much. And maybe it's time for me to stop doing so much. And let all that stuff go. And then you will discover the fluency inside of you that has always been there.
Yeah, so I think what's best is to compress this, all the things that we've been saying a little bit, because the interview is just short, yes? We can talk hours about this. We can have more interviews with you about this, because it's a pretty broad subject. It's very simple, but it's hard to understand.
Right.
Very simple. We having fluency is the most simple thing you can understand, but you know, there's always a but. So what we're saying here, and I think people should, whoever is watching and listening to this, is the invitation is to really start contemplating on this, on the moments that you already speak fluently. It doesn't matter what moment it is. It does not matter. Contemplate on the meaning of the fluency that you show is already there. It proves that it's already there. There's nothing wrong with you. You are already whole instead of you are broken and having to be fixed. This is the change in perspective, so to say. It changed the whole. It changes the whole approach to speaking. So contemplate, please. The invitation is for everybody to contemplate on the situations that there already is fluent speech coming out of you, because that is it. Yes, it comes out of you. That's not something you do. It's something you are. It comes out of you as a spontaneous, natural thing. It flows. You're going. It's intuition. It's creativity. It's all that. It's a dance. It's music. It's a rhythm. You don't do. It's not something you do. It's something that just comes out of you. And this is the change in paradigm that people should. You don't have to, but it's the invitation to think about this for yourself. You know?
Yeah.
What does it mean for you? Because it can change your mindset from having to go uphill to just going downhill. And that's not a bad thing, downhill, okay, in this sense.
Right.
Downhill means letting go, relaxing more, taking your time, taking your space, breathe, understand that you're already it, and through practicing this, you will become more of it. So there is, it's difficult to explain because you are attached to the words that you have to use. So you'll become
right.
even more perfected. You are already perfect, but you'll become more of perfection itself. It flows, it shines more and more through you.
Got it.
All right.
So I think that's a good again conclusion. But maybe one more question I have, and
Yes.
again, maybe it will come back. We'll come back to our again intellectual. It's always like this again two different approaches of just feeling it, what you say, and I kind of feel that's absolutely amazing. At the same time, always it comes to what should I do, and coming back maybe to it a little bit, what do you do? Because I know you have some courses, some workshops. So what you are saying is more like I see like a monk meditating or like feeling something or just like internal work. So what do you do then? Like how do you structure your with people who stutter? What is it like? Is it anyway like turns into some practice
Yeah.
Yeah?
Of course. So, it's a very good question of you, and we've got to be honest, because it's already there. And if you understand it, it's done. Yes? You're ready, and it flows, and you're free. Yes? If you understand it. But if you don't, and for most people,
I
it's
don't.
not
I really want
understanding. For most people, it's not an immediate understanding. So the other option is we practice. We can practice this, but we practice a non-practice. Yes, we practice a non-trying. It's just something you are. So, for example, we practice breathing, but not heavy, deep breathe. No, breathing from your pelvic floor and doing so with the most ease as you can. And there are a lot of practices in this breathing, a type of style. We have other practices. You can practice just speaking to yourself. You can practice this and doing it in a most relaxed manner, as relaxed as you can, just in your car, during the showering, during whatever, when you're all by yourself, or you get a book and you start reading out loud, but you do it not to practice your fluency, but to become more and more relaxed and just practice, difficult wording. You practice just relaxed speaking. You can do that. You can also practice relaxed stuttering. Relaxed stuttering. You can do this in every conversation that you're in. So you see, we have to let go, because there's the idea that stuttering is a bad thing, and that we're broken, and that we should be ashamed of it.
Right.
And when you open up and you show yourself that you stutter by totally doing it relaxed, and this is not as easy as I pretend that it is right now, because you're going outside and you want to stutter relax at the grocery store. It's probably not gonna work the first time. You're gonna, because you're so conditioned to think now I have to try my best to stutter relaxed. You see, this is what a lot of people do when we try to coach them. They start thinking, okay, now I have to stutter relaxed, so I'm gonna do my best in order to do it perfect and good and well, and just as the Broca Brothers told me. But this is not it.
Yeah.
So there is a practice to it.
Right.
But first, we talk about the understanding, you know, the viewpoint, the basis that we come from, and that is, you are already it. You are already that what you seek. You are already the fluent speaker. It's within you. So, and if you understand, it's done. If you truly understand, yes, with body and mind, you feel, the veil has disappeared, you know. But when you don't fully understand it and you're interested in it because it resonates with you, because, you know, it depends on people, then you can practice letting go. And this is the huge paradigm shift for true freedom, real freedom, yes? Real freedom, spontaneity, being at ease in every situation. This way, you don't have to build confidence in 1,000 situations, because it's already there. Fluency is there, confidence is there, trust is there. It's all there.
That's a beautiful, I think, conclusion. So I think that's awesome.
If you're okay with it, one more thing. It's going to be so confronting for a lot of people. You are the cure, yes? It's in yourself. You are the fluent person that you're seeking for. You have it in you. We are often trying to find a cure in the outside world as if it's something that we can order from the internet. Yes? You can go to speech therapy, but it has to be a understanding speech therapist that's going to help you, to be honest. He or she has to understand that I have to help the person find it in him or herself.
Right.
So we don't help people with tricks, with speech techniques, although if there's a heavy, although if a person has heavy blocks, you might help the person, you know, to begin to begin with a speech technique. That's not a big problem, but you have to move on. You have to progress in the evolution, because you go from trying to being.
Right.
So there is no cure found in the outside world. There are people who can help you find the cure in yourself, of course. They're there, but they're very scarce. You gotta look very good. You gotta open your eyes. And yeah. And but the cure is always found, always found in yourself. The answers are within yourself, nowhere else. And this is something people will have to contemplate on, because I don't think, I think people will have to think about this. And
yeah. I would absolutely agree. That's absolutely beautiful. Again, idea, concept, and what we want to pursue. Again, pursue to feel, as you say. We want to feel it. To change our identity. That's what we probably really want. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's about
We can go so deep into this.
Absolutely.
But because the identity of what you believe is you is getting in the way of fluency, because when you're fluent, you are not there. Your identity is not there, because you identify yourself with being a stutterer. When that's out of the way, it comes. So it's already there. When you get out of your own way, when the identification with what you believe you are gets out of the way, you become spontaneous, free, relaxed, and it starts to become fun, you know? What did you want
Got
to
it.
say?
Yeah, you already are a fluent speaker, but there's just something in the way of it, all right? Which means that you have to look for the things that are in the way of your speech from flowing out. You have to find the things that are blocking your speech from coming out. And the fact that the fluency is already inside of you means that you don't necessarily have to learn something, right? You don't necessarily have to add something onto yourself. You don't necessarily have to get something from the outside and put it onto or into yourself. It's all about letting go of the things that are in the way of your speech. It also is not necessarily about changing yourself. You don't have to go from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. You don't have to go from negative feelings to positive feelings. You don't have to change your negative beliefs to positive beliefs.
Yeah.
You only have to let go of the things that are in the way of your fluency, because your fluency, the fluent state of being, is your natural state of being. All we have to do is let go of the things that are in the way of our natural, our confident, our state full of self-esteem, of trust in ourselves, and of course our fluent state of being. All that is already inside of us. We don't have to change anything. We don't have to learn something. We don't have to do something. Only we have to let go of the things that we have built up throughout the years that are currently in the way of that fluency, of that confidence, of that trust coming out of us.
Yeah. One more, one very small sentence is that first of all, we should have another interview with you at some point in time, in
Absolutely.
maybe
Absolutely.
2 months, to continue and further this conversation, to get deeper into the rabbit hole, because it's a beautiful subject to talk about. Very interesting, very insightful, if we can even dig deeper into this. And one more thing I want to add, because now we talk about you have to let go, but the have to is something that will get in the way as well, because you now start thinking, oh, I have to try hard to let go, so I have to try hard to relax. You see, this is the double bind, or the internal break, as John Harrison would say it, doesn't work. So this is something, first of all, to contemplate on, and then the best exercise for people now to doing is, I believe, is to, when you feel tension coming up, when you feel yourself going for it, stop it. Just allow yourself to stop, take space, breathe, relax, open up about, hey, I stutter, I feel block coming up. I'm gonna take 30 seconds for myself, for my own integrity, for my own well-being. All right, take it back to yourself. You take it back to yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you that we can talk a lot. Okay says, ask for a summary, please. I think we had a summary, and yeah, each time we have a summary, there's always a bit. we are already fluent. People want to feel that. That's not easy. That's something that that's a huge point. But sorry, can I ask you a small thing about the shame? You say there is nothing to be ashamed, and you also said about this example, when I go somewhere and start and use that relaxed, letting go, stuttering, like without tension, stuttering, but letting it go. So is this the exercise to let the shame go, or how do we let the shame go?
Who is there to be ashamed? Who feels ashamed?
We feel ashamed.
Who is we? Who is I?
I don't know.
Exactly. Who is this I that feels ashamed? we start feeling ashamed when we're in the first paradigm of fighting and we're holding the ball up, yes? So we're playing that game again. We're holding up the ball. And because we build our ego, we build the identity of ourselves of being great, being even greater, and going for the sun. But then the ball drops. And that's the moment that you feel ashamed because you were holding up the ball. It's not about the mistake that you're making. It's about that you were identifying yourself with success, but you failed. And then there's shame. Now, who's there to be ashamed? Who is there to feel ashamed of anything when you stop holding up the ball? When you stop playing that game? When you stop fighting? Stop trying to be something that you already are. When you have both feet on the floor, on the ground, on ground zero, as we talked about earlier, and you have both feet firmly planted in the earth, you cannot fall, you cannot fail, and therefore you will not feel ashamed whenever you stutter a little bit. You know, you become very fluent through this. Become, yes? But you'll obviously have a block here or there, or a stutter here or there, or you struggle a little bit with the words coming out. You know, this is just part of speaking for every person in the world. But they don't feel ashamed. We feel ashamed because we're holding up the ball. This is the idea that we have. So we think that we have to hold up the ball, not for ourselves even, but for other people. We do it for others. We try to speak fluent for others. We don't do it for ourselves. We think so. We do it for others. We do it for the society so that we can fit in. When you drop this, you will automatically sort of fit in. And you won't feel ashamed when you make a mistake. You know, we can talk about this for hours because this society is so fundamentally scared of making mistakes. The whole world is, they're all tight asses. We're also fundamentally scared of making mistakes. We're also we are also fundamentally scared of dropping the ball, dropping a ball that's not even there.
Yeah, that's a big.
Drop it! And when you start the practice of starting comfortably with being fully relaxed, you already decided to drop the ball. And you will feel that there is no shame, that there is no anxiety anymore, that there's no such thing as that. And then because of that, you will become more free and you'll become more fluent and spontaneous. When you go into your day, and this is maybe an exercise also for people who are, just go into your day, but again, not simple. You can go into your day deciding beforehand that you will stutter in every situation comfortably, yes, with ease, with being fully relaxed. If you can do this, and you can think about this, try visualize it for yourself. That what would happen if you allow yourself to feel beforehand. What's going to happen with anxiety that day? What will happen?
Yeah.
What will happen, Andre, with anxiety if you already decided that you're going to stutter?
Actually,
what's going to happen with anxiety?
It will disappear.
It will not be there.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
When you're going into your day thinking, I have to hold the ball up, play that stupid game. Not stupid, but play that game. You will be anxious the whole day. And these are the two, we have been in that process of becoming more fluent by holding up the ball. Yes, and you can do that. And this is what most people do. You can attain more fluency by holding up the ball. And you get better and better and better. But always in the back of your mind, there's anxiety, because the one time you feel you're back to the start.
Right, right, right.
And there's another way of attaining fluency, and that is and I love it that you start to joke about this, and I think you start understanding a little bit, because you get a smile on your face and stuff like that, and you can see it in your eyes, they start opening up. That's good. You can also become more fluent by just dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Stop playing the game of good versus bad.
Right, right.
This is the invitation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. These are two big points. Yeah, yeah. So I think this became quite practical. Yes, this is quite practical. Again, it's practical. It's not easy to do, but that's what we want.
Yes, it is very practical, and that makes this for everybody, pretty much. For everybody who kind of understands it right now, who thinks, I see, there is practice, there is a way to get there, so to speak. Yes, it is there. So I really believe it's for everybody to do this, but you have to be ready for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree that it's not something to force somebody. Like if someone doesn't understand,
even the word forcing,
yeah, there's no.
It has to be deleted out of the vocabulary.
Yeah, absolutely.
See?
When the person feels that and sees like what it opens up,
Yeah.
that thing, and
It has to be the right time. It has to be the right moment.
yeah, yeah. So
who has ears is gonna hear. Yes,
right.
which was something Jesus said, I guess. Who has ears may hear.
Yeah. That's why we had the explanation before. Yeah, you explained that we are fluent, that we want to feel it, and this is the way to actually feel it, to kind of not feel that shame. Yeah, that's the way to do it as well. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for a beautiful conversation and beautiful ideas. Thanks everyone who's been watching or will watch. And maybe we'll have more interactions. It's absolutely amazing to have you and to have your ideas.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you for inviting us. I would also invite other people who want to have an interview with us. They can just contact us, because we'd love to just talk about this with other people just like this, just because that's much more interesting than we before a camera. And there's no conversation, there are no questions, there are no things that arise spontaneously. So if there's other people who would like to get online with us and have a conversation about this and record it so we can post it online and spread the word, so to say, is that they are free to contact us. So I would drop that in as well. And again, Andre, thank you so much for inviting us. It was a real pleasure. And we were very excited about talking to you, and we are still very excited about talking to you about this subject. And I think we hope both that we continue this conversation maybe in a few months, so we can even dive deeper, as I said before.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Thank you so much, Broca Brothers, Hilla and Short. Yeah, thank you.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, so I'll stop our live.